Hi, good evening, everyone. I'm Deepti, and I welcome you again from the Great Indian Film Festival. Now, previously we've spoken on films and film festivals. Now, TGIFF aims to travel around the world to make sure we learn from the best from these countries, their art, their culture, and of course, cinema. And so, we have someone today who's more than accomplished to share some more insights on these mediums. And well, I have an award-winning, Oscar-nominated filmmaker speaking with me today. But before I bring her on, I must also mention here that her film Brotherhood won the award for the Best Canadian Short Film at the 2018 Toronto International Film Festival, and she also received a nomination at the 92nd Academy Awards.
Hello.
Hi, Miriam. Please
Hi.
welcome Meryam Joobeur. Hi, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Very well. Where are you speaking to us from?
I'm actually in Montreal right now, Montreal, Canada.
Okay, and I hope you're safe and you're staying home and taking care of yourself.
Yes, likewise.
Yeah, great. Thank you. Now, without any further ado, I want to start by asking you, as I'm as curious as I'm sure our viewers are too. How has your journey been so far, for you to have come this far?
I mean, it's been so, I graduated from film school in 2013. So I've been, working as a filmmaker, I guess, for the last 8 years.
Wow.
And it's been a really incredible ride. I mean, of course, there's been a lot of challenges and struggles and projects that didn't go off the ground, but there's also been really beautiful projects and collaborations that I'm very grateful for. So I definitely feel like let's say the quote unquote failures were very important because that's what led to
Sure.
the more successes. So yeah, no, I feel very blessed and happy with the journey so far.
Yes, but how did you decide, that you wanted to be a filmmaker? Was it always, what you wanted to do, or it just one day you decided that, okay, this is what, where my direction is going to be?
Yeah, of course. I mean, I've always loved storytelling since I was a little girl. Like I lived in Tunisia for a bit. My parents are from there, and I remember always asking my grandparents, tell me a story, tell me a story. So like the love of storytelling was always there. And as I grew older, I got very interested in art and visual art, photography, fashion, painting. So in high school, I kind of stumbled upon cinema. I didn't really know. I mean, I had watched films, but I think the only thing as a viewer you can maybe identify is with the actors because it's clearly visible, but I didn't realize,
Mm.
oh, there's a lot of, you can be behind the camera and you can be the one telling the story. So when I discovered that, I just fell in love because um, I still feel like cinema is an intersection of almost everything. It's an intersection of
Yeah.
history, of fashion, of philosophy, of technology, of everything. So when I discovered that, I was in love, and I kind of pursued it from that point on.
Spoken like a true filmmaker, but through all of this, through your journey, till the present, what or who has been your biggest inspiration?
Um, I would say, I feel like my biggest inspiration has been my instinct. I mean, to tell you the truth, if I think about the projects that I've done or the situations that I found myself that are the most creatively fulfilling, it's because I followed my instinct. Um, Obviously, like I love reading literature. Actually, literature has influenced my filmmaking a lot. So there's
Okay.
a few authors that I really love. Obviously, there's filmmakers I love, but I think creatively, um, it's a very internal journey. So I really follow my instinct and see where it's going to lead me.
Well, they certainly did well for you. But and your first feature-length film, Motherhood, was
Yeah.
also chosen, among the 12 projects. by January Screenwriters Lab at the Sundance Institute recently. Do share, about that.
Yeah, so motherhood came about again very naturally. It's a very loose adaptation of Brotherhood, my last short film, and I had the idea for it during the shooting of Brotherhood. So it was naturally I had this idea. I was curious about so I started writing pretty quickly after Brotherhood. We finished Brotherhood, and right now I would say I'm on the final stages of the script writing, and we're trying to secure the financing, and hopefully with COVID, you know, we find a window to shoot. But yeah, it happened very naturally, which is nice. It wasn't in reaction to like the reception of Brotherhood. It was really more like, again, an instinctive desire to explore this universe a bit more.
Right, because and we can't wait to for it to go on the floors
Yeah.
and for us to watch it, because Brotherhood was a very very it was sensitive, and it was a very sensitive subject also to work on. So great work there. But when you decide to write a story and make a
Mhm.
film, what really inspires you as a creator? Like what goes on in
Yeah.
your mind, and what really creates that?
I mean, I'm a very visual person, so you know, usually the films come from an image in my mind. So actually I think everyone has a different process, but for me it's almost like it starts with impressions and visuals, and I have to actually spend a lot of time trying to decode what they mean.
Right.
Uh, so I find that now with the years and with the experience, I feel like I understand my creative process a lot more. And I realize that the films that I gravitate towards, the central message of that film is the lesson that I need to learn at this point in my life.
Wow. Okay.
So it's a very personal journey, I would say, is I find that the central core theme, it really is a life lesson that I'm learning in the moment. So um, yeah, so that's what I've understood now, looking back and seeing the patterns, and even now with motherhood, it's much clearer. Um, the lesson that's being learned now. So yeah, it's almost like a diary entry, I would say. It's That's kind of the
Wow.
process.
That's absolutely wonderful.
Yeah,
But since we are talking on TGIFF, I want to know this from you as well. As a medium, do you think
yeah.
film festivals in particular add value to the distribution of a short film? Do you think it gives the deserved validation or the appreciation?
Oh yes. I mean, for me, like as a filmmaker, I I really hope, film festivals, especially for shorts, continue because, you know, I think artists in general or filmmakers are driven by the desire to connect. I
Absolutely.
mean, we want to connect with others. So through film festivals, you really get that human connection. Um, and my fear is if we go all online, it it's not the same, like some of the
True.
most beautiful experiences I've had have been in film festivals in terms of interactions with audiences, interactions with other filmmakers. Um, and it's nice because for short films, there isn't the industry pressure. So it really ends up being about the collective experience
Correct.
of watching a film and discussing it. There isn't the external pressure about the industry aspect. So it's even more special or pertinent, I find, to share short films in a festival setting.
Yes, absolutely. I agree, because I think I spoke about this before also, that, there are a lot of these wonderful short films, that we miss out on because, they're not being shown on the big cinema, in big cinema halls and theaters. So yes,
Mhm.
I think so too. I share that sentiment with you. that film festivals are a good way to bring this kind of such insightful content out. Now as now the present times,
Yeah.
like you just said, have been very challenging for cinema in general. Now,
Yeah.
but it has, I feel, also kind of encouraged newer ways and mediums, for creators to operate with. So do you think this has led, to increasing the creativity of short filmmakers as well?
I'm sure, I mean, I'm sure it has. I think, I hope the huge benefit of this experience of the past year is that people understand the value of films, because I do think um, art was probably one of the things that kept people sustained through this time, right?
Correct. Yes.
Listening to music, like reading books, listening to podcasts. I mean, I hope the public sees the value, like the immense value of the arts, thus, leading to more opportunities for filmmakers or more support, because I think, generally in society, and I understand the priorities, other things, education, healthcare, but I don't think we should discount art so easily, because if it wasn't for the, these resources, I think mentally people would have struggled a lot more than, they have during COVID times.
Yes, I absolutely agree, and I'm glad you spoke about support uh, to the short filmmakers, because we have seen that no, usually short films are considered, I won't say secondary, but somewhere, yeah, they have
Yeah.
taken, they are put on the back burner because commercial cinema takes over. They
Yes.
may be higher on EQ and the impact, but Ivy, do you think short filmmakers they deserve? I mean, I personally feel they do, but do you think they deserve better monetizing opportunities, through these platforms?
Yeah, I think, if there's a way for, you know, if there's a way for, to get, better when a film is bought by television, a short film, to, have a better price for it, or like that would be amazing, because usually how it works, it's a one-time fee, you know? It's a licensing fee, and it's usually not very much,
Yeah,
But then the broadcaster, whoever, they can play it as many times as they want. Um,
correct.
I I do feel like there is an undervaluing of short films, because I think before they were seen more as a calling card for filmmakers, whereas, haven't been appreciated as an art form in itself. It's incredible. You watch some short films and they make you feel a spectrum of emotions more than some feature films. And,
Absolutely. Yeah.
so for me, there is, they are an art form from themselves. They shouldn't just be seen as a calling card. They can be extremely touching and emotive and profound and change people's perspectives. So I agree. I think, in terms of seeing them as more having more monetary value, that's something that could be worked on a bit more.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. And like previously you spoke that these various platforms are important to for these short films also to be
Yeah.
shown. And OTT platforms, yes, I think are the order of the day. I mean, that is, I think really there's a surge now. I
Yeah.
think all owing to the, of course, the pandemic and people being home
Exactly.
more. Do you perceive these platforms, absorbing short film content as well?
Um, I guess, I'm trying to think. Um, yeah, I think more and more, I do know platforms are starting to take on short films. I think it's also in the trend of people are generally wanting to watch shorter content. I think that's also a big movement, is people's attention spans, unfortunately, are going towards shorter things. So I think for the larger platforms, it makes a lot of sense for them to take shorts. And I see it happening a bit more.
Yes, I do too. And I think the audience now is appreciating, this kind of content as well. And uh,
Yeah.
well, I'd like to see more of these short films, because I
I,
think the attention span of the audience is also kind of limited, at sometimes.
yeah,
So I think these short films could go a long way in
exactly.
kind yes, being a major entertainment medium. But there's a very interesting genre of cinema that we spoke about earlier also, which is mobile cinema.
Yeah.
And how that is, I think, the next big thing, because everyone has access to mobile phones
Yes.
these days, and I think it's the easiest way to kind of bring creativity out. What are your views?
Yeah, I mean, it's already kind of happening with TikTok and all of that. Is um, People are becoming very creative with their own, with their phones, and telling like little stories. And I mean, and there have been like feature films that have been done on, iPhones. Um,
Yes,
so my feeling is, as you know, for me, it's always about what's in front of the camera. I don't really get hung up so much on the, like the camera and all of that. Obviously, I'm a very
yeah,
visual filmmaker, so visuals are very important to me, but I find that, at least as a viewer, if the story is powerful, if the performances are
yeah.
engaging, all of that, I mean, that's the most important thing for me is the story. So whatever camera is done, how it's done, I mean, I think it's secondary to the story.
Yes, absolutely. I agree, because there have been a lot of movies, I think, especially during the lockdown, that have been shot from the mobile phones. And
Yeah,
our previous few guests also spoke, they have indulged in it as well.
yeah.
So do you also in plan to indulge, I mean, try shooting a film over a mobile
Um,
phone?
I mean, I personally haven't done it before, and I mean, if the right project comes along for it, I wouldn't, say no. I think it's really project by project. Some projects make more
Right.
sense than others to be shot on phone. So, for example, for motherhood, I wouldn't consider it. It's not the right medium for it. But if,
I mean, I think that would be interesting to watch as well. So, that now I want to ask you a few fun questions, maybe, get away from, the serious talks on cinema. Now, and you have to be very quick in answering these questions,
okay, okay,
okay?
I'll
So we
try.
call it the rapid fire questionnaire.
Okay.
Now, what has been the best thing that you've heard about yourself, and from whom?
Best thing, probably that. I mean, recently I did a class yesterday for students, and they were very inspired, but by what I had to say. So I was very touched by that.
Okay, great. What has been your worst day, if you can recall any one that you remember
Worst day?
vividly? Yeah,
Worst
worst day. Yes.
day. Okay. Ooh, that's a hard one. Worst day. Worst day. Hmm. I'm sorry, but nothing's come. Is that? I'm trying to think. Worst
Okay,
day.
well,
I mean,
good for you.
yeah,
If you
exactly. I'm
have an
trying
app.
to figure what's like the. I mean, obviously, I think I've had challenges in my life before, but and like moments of deep anxiety. But looking back on them, I kind of have learned from them. So I don't I don't have that vision of it being bad, even though in the moment I think they were very challenging, heavy moments. Now I look back and it's a different relationship to them. So it's hard to just label them as worst now.
That's great. I think that's a great way to look at it. One time when you goofed up majorly during filming, while you were filming.
Well, that's good. Good. Yeah, I would say probably on Brotherhood, it's goofed up in terms of, I think sometimes you find yourself in a situation where there's problems on set, and in my case, I didn't have a producer on set, and I had to handle the team, and I feel like I didn't have the courage in the moment to address the issues. So I would call that like a big goof. Like moving forward, I would do things differently. I'm trying to think of
Great.
any
I
stories,
think,
but I haven't thought of anything.
but I think that goof up, I think, got you, an Oscar nomination. So, well done. Now,
Yeah.
one piece of advice that you would give to new and established short filmmakers.
Saying the power of instinct. That's something I always share when I have conversations with people, because every time I've made decisions based on that, whether it's collaborators or casting or story or whatever, it's always been very fruitful. Every time I went against my instinct, I've faced a lot of challenges, and it didn't go as smoothly as when I did. So for me, that's the most powerful tool an artist has.
I think that's a great piece of advice. I think, for new and established filmmakers as well, to follow the instinct. I think that's what you followed, and I think that's a great piece of advice. Now, one new thing that you learned during the lockdown.
To take care of myself. I think that's a big thing. Before I didn't prioritize my health or my spiritual health either, so I really took a lot of time to get physically well and mentally well during this time. So I definitely learned a lot in terms of those things.
Well, that's amazing, because I think this is the first time somebody said that that's that they've taken care of themselves during the lockdown, and that's one thing they've learned. I think us could actually follow that. I think that is what is the reason for success, and I think more power to you, and we hope to see your next movie, Motherhood, soon. And all the best for that. And it was great speaking with you, Meryam.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Yes. So we want you to share a few words for TGIFF before the connections start acting up again.
Yeah, of course. I was just saying, thank you so much for selecting Brotherhood. It really touches me that 3 years after the film has finished, that it's still being shared with audiences. And I think you guys are doing great work. Like I said, bringing short films to audiences is a really special and important thing to be doing. So I wish you guys all the best of luck for the next editions. And to the audiences, thank you for watching the shorts and supporting the films.
Thank you, Meryam, for speaking with us, taking our time and being patient. But I think in these times, we are so dependent on network connections and phones.
Yeah, of course.
So I think there's just as much as we can do. But thank you for those great words. And honestly, for me, it has been a complete pleasure speaking with you. And getting to know somebody like you, who's accomplished so much, and yet being so grounded. So all the best for your future films, and we hope to see more of those. Thank you so much, and all the best.
All the best to you as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Meryam. Bye-bye.